Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I know you had a good Boxing Day, and that's what we're talking about today. 3-0 victory over Crystal Palace in the Premier League, taking us up to 5th in the table. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to support the videos with a like, and make sure you leave your comments below so we can continue the conversation about Tottenham Hotspur. So jumping straight into it, let's have a look at the team that was put out. Larisse maintained his position in goal on his 35th birthday, and he didn't have a lot to do either, so a nice comfortable birthday for him. A back three of Sanchez, Dyer in the middle, and Tanganga on the left, giving Ben Davies a much needed rest. He was on the bench for the game. Royale as the right wing back, Reggie on left wing back, Skippy and Højbjerg back next to each other in that central midfield position, with Lucas Moura and Sonny making up the attacking positions. And then on the bench, the unused substitutes of Doherty, Winks, Roden, Ali, Galini and Davies. And the subs that were used, Brian Hill, who it's very easy to forget that he's at Tottenham, bearing the amount of time he's had out and the little amount of time we've seen of him recently, Steven Bergwijn and Tanguy Ndombele. Match official on the day, John Moss. And then Palace with a few changes. They had Butland, Ward, Anderson, Tompkins, Mitchell, Gallagher, Hughes, Koyate, Ayew, Edouard and Zaha, and their substitutes that came on, Mateta, Schlupp and Ferguson. So let's have a little bit of a look at the game itself. I mean, we started pretty slowly, which Conte actually seemed annoyed about himself at the end of the game. But this is a pattern of ours, apart from against them, Liverpool and West Ham. It's a feature of ours that has happened for many years now. We tend to start games slowly. It's quite frustrating. And it happened again. They had chances straight from the off. Crystal Palace wanted the game postponed because they were without manager Patrick Vieira. They're also without Christian Benteke, but they still had enough personnel to be able to have the game go ahead. They were still able to train. Their training facilities were open, ergo, match goes ahead. So we had goals from Harry Kane, Lucas Moura and Sonny. The front three all contributing with goals. Moura contributing with assists as well. Zaha was sent off as well. Like he's old enough now to know better, not to get too riled. I mean, the first yellow card, it was a foul? Was it a yellow card? Not for me, not in my opinion. Zaha should not have been yellow carded, but he's experienced enough to know now once you're on a yellow card, you don't react the way you do. I don't understand what he was doing when he threw Sanchez to the ground. Absolutely shocking. Obviously going to be a yellow card, and at that stage he left Jonathan Moss with nothing to do but send him off. So yeah, they didn't get the game postponed. They're now going to be without him. They lost. Not great for them. We, completely capitalised on the disruption to their preparations. Kane has now scored for a second successive game in the Premier League, which we all love to see. That was the 32nd minute, and then Moura doubled the lead just 2 minutes later when he headed home, and it was a great header. I just loved his enthusiasm, determination to get onto the ball, and that was after Emerson Royale held up that nice floated cross that was from close range. And I was actually pretty appalled with the defending from Crystal Palace in that situation. They just allowed Moura to come onto him. There was no kind of determination or effort from Palace whatsoever. Their afternoon went from bad for worse, as Zaha, as we've just said, was sent off for that ridiculous push on Sanchez. I don't know whether Sanchez was winding him up in the build-up to that, but Zaha, after he went off, took his shin pads out and the strop, was walking off, and he was moaning about something. I could see him doing this like 3 times. I don't know what he was talking about, what he was alluding to, but there was something he was obviously very upset about. And then, our dominance kind of struck thereafter. You'd expect that against 10 men. We were already kind of on top anyway just before the sending off, but it just meant we were almost in cruise control, which meant we were able to take Kane off in the game as well. Just after the hour mark, I don't think there was any particular injury or worry about it. I just think Conte is the kind of manager that actually has the nerve to take off Harry Kane and give him a much needed rest. He's not Superman. He can't play all the time. He does need to rest. We now have a manager that's willing to do that, and rightly so, to the point where Højbjerg was also taken off, which was nice to see. The guy plays pretty much every minute he's available for. He has done at the club, certainly in the Premier League. So it was nice to see him get a little bit of a rest as well. And then, Sonny wrapped up the victory when he flicked home after Moura's lovely cross across the box, and that was in the 74th minute. So, as I said, that takes up to 5th in the table. It means we've taken 14 points from a possible 18 since Conte replaced Nuno Espirito Santo, and Palace, meanwhile, they slipped down to 12th in the table. Look, at the end of it, we're on a strong run right now. We really are. Jordan Ayew, he took a massive battering in the game. I think he was on the floor more than anyone I've ever seen in a Premier League game. But I mean, the thing is about Palace, they always make it difficult to break down, and they were. I mean, we played really well in stages. I was really impressed with our free-flowing football at times. As I said previously, with the kind of football we're playing, we are going to give away the ball with sloppy passes because we're going to try more. To pass quicker. So there were some really good 1-2s, 1-2-3s, triangles. Really impressed with our shape. Defensively, we looked solid once again. This has become a feature of us, like a building block from the back. So impressed with that. Let's talk about the players as individuals. We'll go through player ratings from the game. So let's start with the goalkeeper, Hugo Larisse. He had nothing to do at all throughout the game, apart from one flying punch from a corner. That was it. He just got a lovely rest on his birthday. So I can't give him any more than a 6 because he didn't do anything amazing, but he didn't do anything bad. Quite often comes out with 6s. Davinson Sanchez, he's coming away with an 8. He was tripped once by Zaha for Palace for his first yellow, then pushed over for the second. But his actual gameplay, he defended well with everything that came his way. He played a lovely 1-2 with Reguilon late on, which unfortunately finished with him blazing the ball high and wide. That half volley, got a bit excited. I've never seen a defender so disappointed to miss. Normally they laugh it off when they have a wild shot. Sanchez looked really annoyed at himself, but he played really well, so he comes away with an 8. Eric Dyer, a 7 for him. He's really enjoying playing further back in the way he is in that quarterback role. From defence in the middle of the 3, organising them well, pinging passes about, mopped up pretty much everything that came his way, but didn't do anything spectacular, did his job, so a solid 7 for him. Japhet Tanganga coming in for Ben Davies, he comes away with a 7 as well, made a couple of crunching tackles in either half of the match, doesn't really attack in the same way that Davies does, but solid enough performance in a game where it was pivotal to take the points, really, really vital. I feel like Davies would have been a very good option also in this game, but it's nice to give him a rest knowing that we've got somebody that we can trust to come in and cover for him. So 7 for him. Emerson Royale. Now, as I say, since he's been at the club, he's been very hit and miss. He's progressing slowly, but he's getting there. Now, this was a good performance for him. I was torn between an 8 and a 9, so I'm going to do a cheeky cop-out and do an 8.5. All right, I don't like to give half scores, but he wasn't quite as good as Lucas Moura, who we'll talk about in a bit, so he gets an 8.5. He struggled for quality early on with his passing, but he made up for it with that lovely weighted ball into the path of Lucas Moura when he went on. Moura then set up Kane for his goal. It was some lovely one-touch football from everybody, nice and quick on the break. Then he also put that lovely stood-up cross for Lucas Moura to score from. Crossed for Moura later again in the game, but Moura could do nothing but acrobatically blaze it over the bar, and it's one of the best performances that Emerson Royale has had in a Spurs shirt so far, so 8.5 for him. Hopefully more to come. On the other side, Reguilon, he's only coming away with a 7. He set Lucas up for what should have been our first goal before the half-hour mark. He then picked out Emerson with another curling cross before half-time. Emerson couldn't cope with. Always a threat down the left. He's, no end product at the moment, though. This is the worrying thing about him. Great when he first came to the club. He had his little injury spell, and now he's come back. The quality hasn't been as great from the crossing, but, he's still able to motor up and down. He's still a threat in that sense. Not what we want. He's getting there though, isn't he? He's getting there. He's a good player. Oliver Skipp, he comes away with an 8. He's fast becoming Mr. Reliable in there. He's essentially everything that Højbjerg did last year. Skipp is now doing, and it gives Højbjerg a bit of an easier time. So an 8 for Skippy. He unleashed an early drive off target. He brought his graft like he always does, pressing, high intensity, getting involved with attacks as well as mopping up in his own half. Højbjerg comes away with a 7. Tidied up in the midfield as he always does. His passing was off though. I felt it was one of his worst games, and he does this every now and again. Højbjerg, his passing is either there or it's not. This is one of them games where it wasn't. He gave the ball away an awful lot, but defensively he more than makes up for it. And then he was taken off with 15 minutes to go. Lucas Moura, man of the match, gets a 9. He sent an unmarked header across the face of goal. Got in a very good position, just couldn't finish it. Was a little bit disappointed, but it was, for him that was his first proper attempt, and that was from a few yards out. I feel like if it had been on target, the keeper might have got to it anyway, just from the angle that he was at and how close he was to the keeper. He made no mistake with his assist for Harry Kane. A nice ball slotted right into his path so he could bury that one. He then made it 2-0 with his own header with pure determination, a great leap, big smile on his face. And that was from Emerson's cross. He then made it a goal and 2 assists with the low cross for Sonny. Good awareness, good performance on and off the ball. Very impressed. Harry Kane comes away with an 8. I think this is the highest score he's had in a very, very long time. He's been sitting around the 6s and 7s, but as I said, he's been getting better game by game. Fired home the first goal with a powerful effort that Butland could only help on its way into the back of the net. Took it first time. Very good. Good movement again. He spread play to Emerson for Spurs' second goal, which obviously Emerson then put the ball up into the box for Lucas Moura. He sent his own effort just over from Son's corner, the one where they laid it further back, and I actually felt the ball popped up to an awkward height. Kane dealt with it very well, and I didn't expect him to get it as close to the goal as he did. Most of our better attacking play and passing actually came through Kane. Played some lovely left-footed balls across out to the wide left from the right-hand position. So his passing was good, his awareness was good. Starting to sort of build a partnership of passing up again with Kane, but Moura's now in on the act as well. Conte took the rare chance to rest him after 64 minutes and brought on Steven Bergwijn. And then Sonny, the last of the starting players, an 8 for Sonny. Curled Tottenham's first effort at goal, which was saved by Butland, a low save. It just kind of bounced at the exact right time for Butland. It bounced basically straight into his hand. But a nice early effort from him. And then he was the one that wrapped up the game with that deft flick. It was such a slight touch. You can't really put the goalkeeper at fault for this because the way the ball was whipped in, Butland got himself in a position where if Sonny hadn't got there, he would have saved it, parried it out. The defenders just didn't track the run of Sonny. It was a very good run, a very deft effort put in. That made it 3-0, game out of sight. He worked hard in both halves of the pitch, which is really good to see, and he was a constant menace for Palace. So yeah, he comes away with an 8. And then the sub, Steven Bergwijn, comes away with a 6. He replaced Kane and took on the central attacking role for the final 25 minutes of the game. Fired a shot that was too close to Butland with 14 minutes to go. Worked hard in his cameo off the bench, but yeah, not enough really to get any more than a 6. Bryan Hill, almost the forgotten man at Spurs because he's had injuries. I believe he was one of the players that was out with COVID. Back on the pitch after that spell out. He tried to make things happen. He had some good little passages of play. He was quite central a lot of the time, I felt. Tidy little performance in the cameo that he got and a 6 for him. And then Ndombele replaced Højbjerg for about the final 10 or so minutes of the game. Can't really give him a score because there wasn't a lot for him to do. But strangely, it would have been a good game for Højbjerg to play from the beginning, I think. It was the sort of game that he could have dominated. There was a lot of time on the ball that we could have had for our team. So for him, it could have been a really good game. But at this stage, I think at the moment, it's just important to get the balance of the team right. Play our way into games, make sure we get the results rather than take risks. So later in the game, good idea. I'd have given him more time personally in the game, and at one point it looks like Winks was stripped off to come on, and then he didn't. It was Bergwijn that came on instead. So yeah, all round good performance, lifts us to 5th place, and we move on very quickly with a game against Southampton tomorrow in the Premier League. We are away for this one, and it starts our little run of away games. Let's have a little talk about that. So Nathan Tella has completed his period of isolation for Southampton, so he should be back in contention. Spurs, we still have doubt over Giovanni Lo Celso. That situation is becoming a bit complicated. He's becoming a very injury-prone player for us. Apparently he wants to seek a move away as well, and it hasn't worked out the way we wanted. The guy's got an abundance of talent, plays really well for Argentina. It's just not working at Spurs whatsoever at the moment. Antonio Conte has said that he'll assess those players who played against Palace ahead of this quick 48-hour turnaround. Ryan Sessegnon as well and Romero are both still out with their hamstring injuries, which means the provisional squad for that game would be Larisse, Galini, Royale, Sanchez, Tanganga, Doherty, Davies, Dyer, Roden, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Ndombele, Winks, Skip, Ali, Moura, Hill, Bergwijn, Kane, Lo Celso, Son and Dane Scarlett. Whew, got that one out of the way. So last time out, obviously we won 3-0 against Palace, and Southampton managed to get a 3-2 away win over West Ham, which is great in a sense because it means West Ham lose points and they're against us in the race for the top 4. It also means Southampton are going to have a new confidence about them because they've beaten one of the so-called big boys of this year and last year. But also it could put them in a false sense of security where they feel like they're better than they are, essentially go for it, and then we can hit them on the break. So since their return to the Premier League in 2012, against no side of Southampton lost more games in that competition than they have versus Spurs. So they've got 13 defeats against us in the Premier League since their return. We've lost 2 of our last 3 away games against Southampton, which is a little bit of a worry after a 6-game unbeaten run in the competition. What else? Southampton haven't won in their final league game in any of the last 10 calendar years, drawing 5 and losing 5 since beating Huddersfield 4-1 in League One in 2010. So there you go. They don't like to finish the year on a high. Pointless stat, but there you go. I mean, a lot of these are just clutching at straws, these stats, aren't they? So let's just talk about maybe some of the more relevant ones. So Tottenham are unbeaten in our 6 Premier League games under Conte so far. That's 4 wins, 2 draws. He could be the first manager in the club's history to go without defeat in their first 7 league games in charge of the club. Harry Kane has been involved in 16 goals in 11 Premier League starts against Southampton. So that's 10 goals and 6 assists of those involvements. He's had a hand in all of 5 of Spurs' goals in the 5-2 win at St Mary's last season, scoring 1 and assisting each of Sonny's 4 strikes, and what a game that was. Sonny's been involved in 12 goals in 11 games against Southampton, 9 goals and 3 assists, more than he has against any other side in the competition. So this game is set up for Sonny and Kane to fill their boots. Look, Southampton, they're a decent side. They've got a decent manager. I mean, looking at their squad, they can compete to an extent with us, but if we play the way we have been playing, the way we can play, I just can't see this being one that they win. Obviously, they've got Walker Peters, the former Spurs man, who is involved around the same time as the transfer of Højbjerg. Forster in goal, good goalkeeper. Ward-Prowse, we know exactly what he can do, very good player. Nathan Redmond, always dangerous on the break. Gineppo, another good player. Bednarek, quite like him. We're not even going to talk about Walcott. Know what we think of him. Not really a favourite around Spurs when he comes to play us. But like what they've got is a squad. That's what they've got. They've got no superstars. They're just a good squad. So personally, I think we will win that game. I am going to ask you to put your score predictions below. So let me know what you think is going to happen in that game. Win, lose, draw. What do you reckon? I'm going to go with, I reckon, another 3-0. I'm confident of another 3-0. So let me know what you think below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the video with a like, leave your comments. That is it for today. I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your bank holiday. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for sticking around and watching that one. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. Enjoy the rest of your bank holidays whilst I'm stuck back at work already. Just had the Christmas and Boxing Day off. Meh. So yeah, I will speak to you again tomorrow. Fingers crossed we get that win. As I said, score predictions below. Take care, and until tomorrow, come on you Spurs.